This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. A lot of fun coming up over the next 3 hours today. Among the guests, Brett McMurphy talking college football in 1 hour. Same with Paul Stone, pro better, his best bets for this week and beyond in 90 minutes. Jonathan Davis, heavy NHL slate tonight. Derek Stevens with a contest update. His usual Tuesday time slot at 6:30 Eastern time. We have a lot on last night's game. We have look-ahead numbers to Week 17 of the National Football League. And, Paulie, congrats to you. One of the first bets that you made last week was Pittsburgh on the money line in the game last night. It was never really as close as the final score indicated, right? 28-15. That bad boy was over with. That was a terrible third quarter again by Miami, negative 20 yards. It was all garbage time stats from Tua. That was the best trends game of the entire year, probably in multiple years. And I don't know if we'll have one that is close, if you like to buy into trends. They all came in last night, right?
Well, maybe ever. I mean, 22-0, and then a team 0-13 when it's less than 40 degrees. I mean, you could, not to mention the jet thing, too.
And there you go. To go one more, that
Yes.
now makes it 1-12 ATS for the team the following week after playing the Jets. That was a spot the Dolphins were in last night.
Okay, so take Denver against Jacksonville on Sunday. There you go. That's incredible. The old man looked good. Now, was it bad coaching by Miami? Was it a good job by Art Smith, like Rodgers said after the game? He likes that they have these cast-offs and all these guys with something to prove, but going shotgun in every pass 5 yards, it worked. A little Scantling here, a little bit of Thielen, a little Washington, a little DK, even Jonnu Smith, the creativity and the tush-push, what they're doing. So could that work so much that they could win a playoff game? Who knows? But certainly it was a bad Miami and atrocious Tua, and they didn't get anything going until garbage time, and I am here for it, and I love an agitated, aggravated Troy Aikman, who is just all over him about, now you show some sense of urgency. I think he had dinner reservations, but he was just livid it. They're calling timeouts, and they're down 3 scores, and they're letting they're huddling and everything. But it was just a bad job by Miami in a game they had to have. They had won 4 in a row in spite of how bad Tua has played. But Tua in the cold weather, Tua with a horrible interception. Rodgers looked good. Steelers looked great. Easy win. Trends came in.
Yeah, I mean, that's as strong as it gets if you buy into the trends again. All that stuff going into the game last night, and it really paid off. And again, the Tua stuff, if you didn't watch the game and you checked out the box score, you were busy last night, you're like, okay, that's kind of a decent football game, and Tua looked pretty good, right? Final numbers, 22 of 28 for 253. The passer rating was 113. The QBR was 12. And what does that mean? QBR is non-garbage time. When the game is, neutral or like kind of still in the balance, that was all Tua, garbage time, stat padding, 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. He had 75 yards basically after the end of the third quarter. And it all came, and a lot of that was to Darren Waller, by the way. And this is where, again, like when it comes to awards markets, futures, I don't think it would be very easy to come up with numbers in terms of like booking this stuff from a sports book's perspective. But it is, Darren Waller's not even on the board. He's my guy this year. I made this abundantly clear that I loved him after the first game back. He was the perfect candidate to win comeback player of the year. He was down and out of the league completely. He admitted to trying to off himself, basically. The divorce to Kelsey Plum, drinking, drugs, the whole thing. I mean, it was bad, man. Dire. That's what an NFL comeback story is like, not the Phillip Rivers stuff where he was retired. I'm talking about the letter of the law and the rules they have in for the award. And I'm not telling you that Darren Waller is going to or should win the award, but there's an angle here. He has the Bengals this week. It's the worst defense against tight ends in the league by a mile. It's possible he has 2 more touchdowns and maybe 100 yards, right? Kills him.
Yes, it is.
How he is not shorter than Phillip Rivers to win the award right now tells you all you need to know.
Yep.
Rivers cannot win the award. Darren Waller is the perfect candidate and yet he's not even available to bet on.
Yep. It's unfortunate he got hurt.
Yeah.
He's 6 touchdowns. What if he gets to 10? It'll be hard to catch McCaffrey after the season he's had.
Sure.
But you are absolutely correct. This is what the award is all about and the comeback story. And we go back to, he missed so much time at the start of the year, but McDaniel singing his praises about how good he looks in camp and how strong he's been in practice. And he comes right out of the gates with the touchdown early on in that Thursday night game. So what a weapon in the red zone, too.
Oh, yeah.
But also, you go back an indictment of Tua, that he just couldn't get it to him time and time again. And it only happened once the game was out of reach. And that maybe was the last game for Tua in a Dolphins uniform as well. $50 million guaranteed next year. McDaniel came out and said, we're assessing everything, and the quarterback play wasn't good.
Yeah, I saw this good tweet from Benjamin Solak, ESPN. He basically tweeted out, it's about $55 million. It's the same amount of money to cut him after June 1st as it is to keep him on the roster. And then McDaniel, like you said, not happy, not good enough, not going to get the job done. They do have Quinn Ewers on the roster, drafted him out of Texas last year. The guy, go back to what we watched in the second half of that national title game when he came in out of relief for Jalen Hurts and they won the game. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Right, where he just came in, was slinging it down the field, taking shots the entire time, so accurate, and you're like, this dude is going to win multiple Heismans, and had a really awesome college career. But then the shortcomings in the NFL, that's who he is and what he does. And he's not, they pay him like a franchise quarterback. A franchise quarterback is a Josh Allen type, right? It's an insult to actually call these guys because they make so much money your franchise quarterback. They would probably be better off by actually bailing on him and taking that hit against the cap without even him on the roster next year. That's it.
They got to blow it up.
You got to blow it up.
Coach, the GM's already gone. Quarterback, maybe Hill moves on. All the changes they're going to make. And just, winning 7-8 games, not good enough. And it's just, that's an obscene contract and what they owe him as well. Also, good job by a couple of viewers who pointed it out before the game. He was 17-1 at FanDuel and 12-1 at Caesars. Achane, most receiving yards. There were a lot of props at cash last night. Yeah. Some big numbers that we'll get to coming up. Are the Steelers good? Can you get there? Can they win a playoff game? Rodgers has played well the last couple of weeks.
No.
You can't get there.
No, right, they're not good, and I cannot back them in a playoff game.
$1.25 to win the division. Maybe it comes down to Week 18 against the Ravens. I don't know. Ravens got the big one Sunday night. Then they go to Lambeau. And Pittsburgh goes to Detroit. I know you're high on Detroit. And then they go to Cleveland before the showdown Week 18. But maybe it doesn't matter. Hopefully the division's on the line, and that's your Sunday night game. But I will give them credit, though. The old man has looked good the last couple of weeks, and the offense has looked good.
I said this yesterday before the game. I'm not going to overreact to what happened last night. I actually hope they make the playoffs. If the matchup's right, it will absolutely be a bet against for me. Miami they were playing well before the game last night. And that was a good job by Pittsburgh taking care of business. By the way, you know who else came through every which way but loose last night? Gainwell was awesome.
Yes.
And he is a serious threat. And I like Warren, and I know that he was sick, but I want more touches from Gainwell.
Yep. Rodgers loves him. He's making like 1.7 a year, like about the vet minimum. And he said he loved him in Philadelphia. And he wants to get him the ball as much as possible. So look at props moving forward because he loves the guy.
Yeah, if you laddered him with the rushing yards, the receiving yards, it all came in last night. Again, we don't have very many spots. I think only one maybe in Las Vegas where you can ladder receptions. But his receptions he had 7.
Yeah.
So if you're betting like 5, 6, 7 on him, that was a huge payday last night. And oh, by the way, your guy DK Metcalf, that was an awesome touchdown.
Yeah, get off me.
Just, I'm scoring, pal. Yep. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, I need to point this out. Think about how bad the Jets are right now.
Yes, that's an excellent point.
They could not get the Dolphins off the field last week.
Yes.
And the Dolphins...
And Achane got hurt?
Yes.
I know.
And in Miami, they were terrible until garbage time.
Yep.
Boy, is that alarming. That Tyler Shuck, I think you're right. You bet the Saints yesterday? Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They get you. But the Jets can't stop anything. I really have come around on Aikman. I also thought it was great. How about the taunting call? Who thinks of this stuff in the league office? You know what? We got to really address this.
That's a crying shame.
You can't stand over a guy after a big hit.
It's a bad look for the kids out there. What?
Who comes up with this stuff?
I have no idea.
Right? And it was so good, the fact that Aikman's like, I cannot believe that's a penalty. That is absolutely outrageous. Let's see what happens here. And like he was flexing, he hits him and he just stands over him. Oh, you can't do that. Taunting, 15 yards.
I think Troy has enough equity built up now, and he's probably gotten to that age where he's like, I can go scorched earth now, maybe more than I ever did my entire career, and I don't care.
Yeah, last year playoff game, the hits on Mahomes. Another example.
Yeah.
What happened in the Houston playoff game? Absolutely.
No, it's a good booth.
Yeah.
It's a good booth.
But I love it when he's ticked off and agitated. Like he was. He clearly had to be somewhere last night. It's like, what are you guys doing calling timeouts? Get out of here. What are you, right? Now you show some sense of urgency after you're getting your ass kicked. Come on.
Oh.
It was phenomenal.
Well, I guess put that on the calendar next year again when Pittsburgh hosts a Monday night game, right?
That is so strong. Hard to believe.
I don't even know how it's possible.
Yeah. You know, he's gonna do it again. 3 weeks ago, fire Tomlin chance, and he'll go at least 9-8.
Yeah. Maybe win that division.
Yeah. And then can he finally win a playoff game here and end that drought? But that's just shame on the Baltimore Ravens, though. They have looked good the last couple of weeks, but you can't lose to that team at home.
No.
And how bad Pittsburgh performed in some of these other games that they've had this year, especially that Sunday night game at Los Angeles when they couldn't get a first down against the Chargers.
You ran down some possible first-round matchups for the Steelers yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, what is the best-case scenario for them?
Well, not the Bills, not the Texans.
Chargers?
Jags or Chargers, maybe, although we saw what happened Sunday night, but I think they fixed things offensively and kind of the shotgun and just spread it around short. I don't know. Probably the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go well against a team like Houston.
That will not.
No. We do have the NBA Cup Championship tonight, a bowl game, and a heavy card in the NHL, including a couple of Malinsky specials. We'll run it all down for you coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Busy hour on tap. In 15 minutes, we'll get into the National Football League. Trends that paid off last night, Monday Night Football. We'll move that forward. Paul Stone on the program, professional sports bettor. Some best bets in bowl games. Take inside our pizzeria coming up in 45 minutes as well. And right now we go to the Progressive guest line to begin the hour as the great Brett McMurphy joins the program. America's insider for college football on 3 Sports. Brett, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always, my friend. How are you?
Great, guys. Good to talk to you again. I love hearing about the Malinsky special. Miss that guy. It's cool that you guys still bring him up.
Yeah, we got to. We'll keep that a thing, no doubt, for as long as this show is ever going to be on the air. So let's begin with this. This is the second year of the 12-team playoff. The second of how many years until they tinker with it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mitch. They've got until next month to determine what next year's playoff is going to be. There appears to be some momentum towards changing it to 16 for next year, but ultimately the SEC and the Big Ten have to come to an agreement on what that format is going to look like. Automatic qualifiers, no qualifiers, no automatic qualifiers. Look, they've been working on this thing, I think, right after man invented fire, and they still can't agree on it. So how in the world are they going to figure out in a month? I guess I'm pessimistic. I wish they would. I don't think it's going to happen. Mitch, I think we go one more year after this with 12, and then I think in 2027 we'll have the new format, whether that's 16 or that's 24. Heck, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll honor the late, great Mike Leach and go with his 64-team playoff that he proposed. But I'm saying one more year of the 12-team after this year. And to be very candid, I think this year we probably would have been okay with the 4-team playoff. I think 12 is a few too many. Or you go to 16 and let in some others.
Well,
I think 4 we would have been fine.
I totally agree. If they go to 16 or even beyond that, are they still going to keep the conference title games?
That's a great question, and that's something that has to be determined. Maybe they get rid of the conference champion games, and the Big Ten has, one of their proposed playoff models was that instead of the conference championship game, instead of having 1 and 2 in your conference play each other because they would already be in the field, have your 4th or 5th place teams play in the quote in that game. It obviously wouldn't be the conference championship game, and then the winner of that game, it would essentially be a play-in game, where the winner of the 4 versus 5 would then secure a berth into the college football playoff. So that's something, each conference has to figure out. Certainly it would not have the allure of a conference championship game. But again, I think, especially this year, everybody talked about Indiana and Ohio State, what an incredible game it was, the stakes and all that stuff. And I agree somewhat, but think of how much bigger it would have been if this was a 4-team playoff. And we knew the loser of this game was in the field. If it was a 4-team playoff, it would have certainly added to the urgency and the build-up. Still a great game, but kind of one of the few drawbacks, I guess, when you expand the field.
What do you think of Notre Dame opting out and how they handled the whole situation with the AD and also it came out that now moving forward, if they're in the top 12 at the end, they're automatically in?
Well, I mean, look, I talked to you guys a little bit about it. I think Notre Dame deserved to be in the playoff. But I also realized how the committee ranked the teams that Notre Dame, the way the results played out with Texas Tech winning, with Duke winning, that they were not going to get in because they lost the head-to-head. And I didn't think they would drop the either SEC team out, Alabama or Georgia. But still, I realize these are exhibitions and all these different things. I just thought it was a bad look. I mean, we also had Iowa State and Kansas State opt out. I can understand why they did that a little bit more. They had coaching changes, but to have a 10-win season, you would have played BYU. It would have been the highest ranking non-playoff game. It'd be one of the highest ranking games, period, when you throw in the Tulane and James Madison playoff games. And it's simply, I don't like it. I understand it's an exhibition game. I understand that. Players can opt out. That's fine. That's cool. To each their own. But for a team to opt out, I don't like that, guys. I don't like that at all. I think it sends a bad precedent. And it basically, I was in Vegas last week for the College Football Hall of Fame inductions, talked to a lot of people. And the number one adjective I got when I asked people about Notre Dame was arrogance. That's the arrogance of Notre Dame, basically saying, we are not going to play in this game. And I asked several athletic directors from the ACC, if a school from the ACC would have done this, would they have been fined like the Big 12 fined Iowa State and Kansas State? They said absolutely yes. I asked ADs from the SEC, if an SEC school would have done that, would they have been fined? They said absolutely yes. Even though those conferences do not have bylaws that indicate that there is an automatic fine, they were very confident any of their conference teams would have been fined, yet Notre Dame does not get fined. I know they're an independent. However, they are part of the ACC bowl lineup, so they could fine them under the ACC football umbrella. But again, they didn't because they're Notre Dame.
Very good. America's college football insider, Brett McMurphy, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. Alabama's favored by 1.5, A&M's 3.5, and 2 big spreads in the other 2 games. Do you see a possible upset this week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think the group of 5. I like both favorites. I think Ole Miss will handle Tulane. I think Oregon will handle James Madison. The OU game. The OU-Alabama game is going to be fascinating because Alabama dominated the stats in the first meeting, outgained them 2-1, and Oklahoma won the game. And now you've got Oklahoma still can't figure out their offense, but they are playing at home. Their defense has been incredible. Mm-hmm. But if Alabama can shred Oklahoma's defense like they did the first game and the second game, I think Alabama can win. There is some question about Ty Simpson. Is he 100%? He may not be 100%. Could that impact Alabama? I know it's hard to beat a team twice in one season, fill in all the cliches there. But I actually think OU will pull off the slight upset there. And in the other game, God, I think Miami can pull it off, but I think ultimately the home field's too much for the Hurricanes and the Aggies event.
Okay. How about you're going to the Rose Bowl? Let's say Alabama wins. How do you see Alabama, Indiana?
I mean, and Indiana just keeps proving everybody wrong. It's like to say, well, okay, the run's going to end right here. I just, I can't see it, man. They just keep plugging along, and they're not a fluke. The thing to keep your eye on is, I know last year Boise and Arizona State and Boise got in with the first round bye, so that kind of impacted the results. But if I remember correctly, I don't think any of the schools that had the first round bye won their opening game in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, they lost.
So will it be different? Will it be different this year because we just did the top 4 seeding? So Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, and Georgia. Look, whatever the number is that all 4 of those are going to lose, I would not take it. It would be a monster number. I think at least 3 of those 4 will advance. But Indiana's just, they keep proving they're for real. And, say what you will about, Ohio State. Yeah, they got to the goal line twice. They couldn't score. That's why Indiana won. But still, Indiana won, and I think they'll keep plugging along. I don't think they're going to win the title, but Paulie, I do think they'll win the Rose Bowl, and Wes Reynolds will be celebrating in the streets of Pasadena.
No kidding. So, Brett, under that scenario, then you said 3 of the 4 will win in the quarterfinals with the bye. Is the one team you think that would lose then? And I got to tell you, Oregon was very popular in the VSiN Bowl Betting Guide, available right now, vsin.com/CFP. 5 people pick them to win the national title. So that I'm guessing that you would have the Ducks over Texas Tech?
Yeah, and I love Texas Tech, what Joey McGuire's done there. But, yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like, how messed up is not messed up, but it's just how weird is college football's playoff system, in that Oregon last year is the number 1 seed, undefeated, first 13-0 season in the history of the Big 10, and they lose the game. And now they come into the playoffs as a 5 seed, and they've got an easier path to the national title as a 5 seed than they did the 1 seed. But yeah, I agree with you, Mitch. I think Oregon, they look the part. Like I said, they'll handle James Madison. They'll name the score there. I think both games involving Group of 5 teams will probably look something like the Vegas Bowl when we saw Washington play Boise State. And Oregon's in a great position. And I think last year, and the motivational, they want to repay people for what happened last year. But I do think that was a huge learning experience for them. And I would not be shocked to see Oregon in that national title game.
Good observation. Follow Brett on X. He is at Brett_McMurphy. Does a great job for On3 Sports, and he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Love talking to you, Brett. Thanks so much. Enjoy the games this week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
You got it. Great job. Oregon's defense is real, and they were awesome against Iowa, great against Washington, and that Penn State game was bizarre, what happened there, but they were solid for 3.5 quarters in that game as well. So it starts Friday. Can't wait. Bama and Oklahoma, and get our college betting guide. Full previews of every game, best bets, the brackets, Mackinac power ratings, bowl picks across the network. Buy the guide now, $14.99, or upgrade to VSiN Pro and get the guide that's included. Every best bet, every host, every guest. VSiN.com/CFP. VSiN.com/CFP.
Trends paid the rent last night, and a 1-in-12 angle now exists going into Week 16 as a result.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll get some best bets in the bowl season here as we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Professional sports bettor Paul Stone joins the program. Before we get into your best bets for this week, Paul, how about your philosophy of betting bowls this time of year compared to how you do it in the regular season?
I'll say, first of all, Mitch, I think there is great opportunity for the hardworking handicapper. Obviously, the transfer portal and all the opt-outs and NFL draft declarations and all that's made it a lot of hard work. But if I think you're willing to do the work, I think there are there's money to be made here. And not a great revelation on my part, but it is a different exercise handicapping the bowls versus the regular season. And I would say the primary difference, at least in my individual case, is during the regular season, to me, it's all about getting numerical value. I'm rarely going to bet a game if I'm not getting the best of the number during the life cycle of the number. So, maybe if it goes to 5.5, I might lay 5.5 if it was 4.5 before. But if it crosses a key number, if I'm getting the worst of the number, I'm not going to bet it. It's all about the numerical value. But during the bowl season, to me, information is king. It becomes more about getting that information, and that information is who's in and who's out, who's playing, who's not playing. Yesterday morning, I was reading over and over all the information on Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby, and finally came to the level where I was confident to say, man, there's no way this guy's playing. Bet Navy -4. It immediately went up to -6.5. Maybe it settled at 6. I really hadn't looked at the number too close today, but it's about information and being confident enough when the time comes to respond to that information and enter the marketplace.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Case in point tonight. Salute to Veterans Bowl. Troy was lane 3. Jacksonville State now -2.5. And the totals come down. It was 51.5. Now it's 48.5. What side are you on?
Yeah, I'll tell you, these Alabama schools used to play regularly back when both were members of the FCS, but that changed around the turn of the century when Troy became a FBS member back in 2001. So this is going to be the first meeting between the teams in 24 seasons tonight in Montgomery. And looking at these early bowl games, guys, I don't think there's a team, say the first week or so, I don't think there's a team that has been as impacted with portal and injury and situations like that as Troy has. And they have especially been hit hard on the offensive line, and that's primarily why you see this swift line movement, in my opinion. That offensive line tonight against Jacksonville State could be without 4 starters. First of all, both starting tackles, Elijah Prather and Garner Langlow, they're expected to miss tonight's game due to injuries, as is third-year starting left guard Eli Russ. Paul Bowling, he's the other starting offensive guard. He's entered the portal. He's not expected to play. So suffice it to say, Troy's offensive line is in shambles. And if that's not enough, their top rusher, Tay Meadows, 695 yards rushing, he's in the portal. He's not expected to play. That leaves Jordan Lovett as the only Troy running back who has a carry all season. So they're going to have somebody running the football tonight who hasn't even had a carry all year. They are really thin on the offensive line and at the running back position. Also, Troy not particularly adept at defending the run. They had 3 teams this year, Texas State, Old Dominion, and JMU, rush for over 300 yards against them, and that's what Jacksonville State does best. You probably know this, but Cam Cook, leading rusher in the entire nation this year, 1,659 yards, 5.6 yards a carry, 16 touchdowns. And they also, Jacksonville State, have a dual threat quarterback in Caden Krill, 1,085 yards rushing. Troy, not surprisingly, they have not defended running quarterbacks well either. I think Jacksonville State's going to win this game tonight, and they might win it by double digits. I like Jacksonville State, even with the line move, -2.5 over Troy in Montgomery.
Yeah, quickly, you might want to grab that immediately because it looks like this bad boy, Paul, is going to be moving to 3.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one-way action. I mean, and again, it's about there's a lot of variance in these results, and people just pile on, and they're isolated games. So, yeah, you better get on it quick.
Myrtle Beach Bowl Friday morning, Kennesaw State, Western Michigan. How about the total here? And that's come down. Take it away.
Yeah, you look at these teams. Both teams, are going to have most hands on deck, meaning most will have most of their players, which is really critical, again, when you're handicapping these bowl games. Looking at Kennesaw State, they will be without a couple of defensive contributors, linebacker Garland Binyard and safety Antonio Stevens. Both have been out, but they've been out the last several weeks, so that's not a big surprise to them. I don't see a whole lot of value on either side, so I've turned to the total here, and I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. First of all, I think inarguably Western Michigan had the MAC's top defense this season. I think the statistics support that. Against FBS opponents this year, the Broncos only allowed 18.6 points per game, 304.2 yards per game. They ranked 13th nationally in both those categories. You look at their 9 games against MAC opponents, like opponents, teams kind of at their weight class, isolated those 9 games, including the championship game against Miami of Ohio. In those games, they allowed only 13.2 points per game, so really good against teams at their own class level. Kennesaw does like to play with a little pace, so that's something you're a little bit concerned about when you're playing overs, but Western Michigan likes to play slow. They take a slower approach to the game. Their games only totaled 131 plays a game between the two teams, so that's really low. You look at Western Michigan's defense against 2 of the better offenses this season in the MAC, those being Toledo and Ohio. Both Toledo and Ohio had under 300 yards against Western Michigan. Toledo only 280, Ohio 287. Those teams combined for only 4.4 yards per play against Western Michigan. Kennesaw State, their defense this year kind of up and down, but they were really good in the Conference USA championship game. They held a pretty explosive Jacksonville State offense in that championship game to 15 points, 306 yards, and a shade under 5 yards of play. So they came to play that night. Looking at the weather report, this game kicks off at 11 a.m. Eastern there in Conway, South Carolina on Friday morning. Winds forecast to be in the range of 10 to 20 miles. So look at that hourly forecast if you can on Friday, even leading up to Friday. Anything 15 or over, I think, makes a difference. I think that further bolsters our under position. An hour ago, this game was pretty much 49.5 or 50. Now it's pretty much a consensus 48.5, so it's going down as well. But I still like Kennesaw State, Western Michigan in the bowl game there in Myrtle Beach to go under 48.5.
All right, one more game. Monday morning out here Pacific time. It's 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific in the Idaho Potato Bowl. Wazoo's catching 2.5 against Utah State. Who do you like?
Looking at Washington State, this is a team essentially without a conference this year. So they're kind of, the odd man out. They were left out of the realignment. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. And then at the end of this regular season, they see their head coach, Jimmy Rogers. He leaves the Palouse for the greener pastures of Ames, Iowa, after Matt Campbell leaves Ames to take the Penn State job. So they lose their head coach. It's just kind of been a tough deal. They will be without one of their key players, Brock Dew. He's a veteran center. He's one of their team captains. He's not going to play due to injury. They have several players in the portal, but their team voted to let those players in the portal play in the bowl game if they choose to. A couple of them apparently are going to play in the bowl game tonight, one of those being linebacker Anthony Polano. He's got 65 tackles this year, so he's a force on that defense. Another being their wide receiver, Tony Freeman, who has 51 catches. So those guys will certainly be welcome. Utah State, they've got a key absence as well. Their top receiver, Brandon Pegan, 66 catches, 926 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's in the portal. He's not expected to play for Utah State. I think Utah State, with Washington State's coaching situation and a little bit of the turmoil there, might be the more bowl-ready team on the surface, if you will. But I'm taking Washington State plus the points. First of all, I think Washington State's going to be fully engaged. I think they're going to have, again, that chip on the shoulder. I think they're going to be ready to go. And plus, I look back on Washington State's performance against 3 ranked opponents all on the road during this season. Those 3 games, of course, being the 3-point loss at Ole Miss. They led that game in the third quarter, lost by 2 at Virginia, led that game by 10 starting the fourth quarter, and then the 4-point loss at James Madison led that game midway through the fourth quarter. So they could have won any or all of those 3 games, competing with some of the best teams in college football. 2 of those teams made the playoff. A third, Virginia, would have made the playoff had they won over Wake Forest over Duke rather in the conference championship game. So they have competed with the best. I think Washington State's going to come to play. I think they're going to beat Utah State in the Idaho Bowl there on the blue turf of Boise.
Very good. Dynamite
Good
analysis
job.
as always, my man. Thanks for the time, Paul. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, love these bowl games. Look forward to talking to you guys next week. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go. Next at Paul Stone Sports, and he was on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, we'll have a slice inside of our pizzeria, some long shot bets, that would pay off quite handsomely. I'm looking at the board right now. Oh, man, a lot of good legs to ponder. We'll kick them around coming up next.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in here on a Tuesday. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Appreciate you watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. Busy hour coming up. We're going to go over numbers in the NFL in 15 minutes. Circa owner Derek Stevens with a contest update. Bottom of the hour, our best bets in pocket plays coming up in 45. But right now, it's a very busy and I would say tantalizing slate tonight in the NHL. And VSiN senior betting analyst for the sport, Jonathan Davis, joins us on the Progressive guest line. What's cracking, JD? How are you?
Oh, man, I am so looking forward to this night on ice. I mean, it's not too many times when Sidney Crosby goes up against Connor McDavid and they're the backstory in a hockey game.
Wow, that's okay. All right, strong.
Yeah.
Well, then, so let's get to as much of this as possible then. I want to begin Islanders at the Red Wings. We talk about this all the time with the Malinsky special. Now, the Red Wings are back from a 6-game road trip, but they haven't played since Saturday. They're rested. So are the Isles, though. Couple of things here. Your thoughts on just betting New York to win the game, and are they worth a shot at around 18-1 to win their division?
All right. A shot at winning the division, yes. I mean, look, I like Carolina before. I like Carolina more that they found themselves a goalie in Brandon Bussey, who they claimed off waivers from Boston. Maybe one of the best in-season acquisitions this year. Tonight, yeah, look, it's a good spot for the Islanders. Six games in 10 days for the Red Wings. And I heard Patrick Kane, all excited about how they played and the results of the road trip. I could see this as a sluggish spot, and Kane won't play tonight. I could see this as a sluggish spot for Detroit. The only thing that concerns me is that the Islanders were already without Matt Barzal and Kyle Palmieri, Bo Horvat and Kyle Palmieri. They may be without Matt Barzal, game time decision. So it's kind of got me a little nervous about playing the Islanders, who I loved coming into the day today.
All right. How about the other one with San Jose? Another Malinsky special as they're at home taking on Calgary. They had a five-game road trip.
Yeah, don't mess with the Flames, especially with the dad's mentor trip. Calgary,
good.
I got to watch them here in LA on Saturday night, and one of their guys, Adam Klapka, got into a fight early in the game, and as he's heading towards the penalty box, you see him waving his fist to his dad up in the suites. It was pretty funny. But look, Calgary's playing really well, and they've owned the Sharks. They had 6 straight wins, 9-10 over San Jose. I'll take Calgary in this spot.
All right, excellent. You touched on it earlier. What did you think of the trade now that Edmonton shipped out Skinner and Jari goes to Edmonton and they're going against each other tonight?
I mean, a trade that both goalies needed. For Edmonton, Skinner, look, he took this team to 2 cup finals, but there were always, spots along the way. And Mitch, you had him last year to win Conn Smythe, but it was so hard for him to win when, he's only playing half the games. And that's the problem. This alleviates the excuse for Edmonton. It's probably a lateral move in goal. I would say the two are about equal. Both have had their issues. Jari was actually put on waivers last year, has turned his career around this year. It should be a lot of fun tonight. And I mean, the fact that they're playing, 3 or 4 days after the trade against each other is pretty crazy. And, as I was saying, it's not too often that McDavid and Crosby take a backseat to something else when they're squaring off against each other.
This angle with the Colorado Avalanche to score in the first 5 minutes of the game, first 10 minutes of the game, has been pure gold pretty much the entire season, specifically when they're at home, so much so that the broadcast crew has recently been talking about this. And in fact, how they're scoring in like the first 90 seconds of the 2 minutes of the game. Now they're on the road, though, tonight against Seattle. So what's the play?
So yeah, I was trying to figure out, how am I going to approach this game, and was I going to touch it at all? And then, as I'm seeing how this line is now gone well over $3, here's the approach that I take this year. And I started tracking this last year, and the numbers are staying true to form. When you've got a favorite that's minus 300 or greater, the dog has scored a goal in the first period in 7 of the 8 games. So Kraken to score in the first period, I'll play that. First period over is 6-2, and the goal in the first 10, this plays right into Colorado, is 7-1.
Montreal is on a 16-2 overrun in the second period. Good numbers from Chris Otto, but you have something that's awesome on Montreal at home as well, and what you want to bet and what the number is second period at home to the Flyers.
Yeah, so 13-0 at home in the second period, over 1.5. Now, it's pretty juicy at 1.5. So there's two ways you could approach it if you don't want to pay the $1.60 or so for over 1.5. You can play over 2 at BetMGM. You can get plus money there. Or you take your chances and wait and try to get that 1.5 at a better price. I'm going over 2 in the second period. 9 of those 13 games have had at least 3 goals.
9 of the 13 have had at least 3 goals?
Strong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good job. Good find. Well, how about the Rangers? You've been all over this Seattle thing, which has been an ATM for years, how bad they are on a back-to-back. How about the Rangers at home against Vancouver?
Well, the Oilers are approaching Seattle. They're 8th straight.
Wow.
Losing the back half of a back-to-back. Going back to last year, the Rangers this year, 0-5 on the back end of a back-to-back. And guys, they've scored a whopping 4 goals on the back end of a back-to-back. So I'll take Vancouver tonight at a plus price here at Madison Square Garden.
Wait. So they have scored 4 goals combined in those 5 losses?
Yes.
How is that possible?
Well, they've just been god-awful, and especially at home. They can't score.
Well, give the Seattle stat. They've lost. They're
17 straight losses for the Kraken on the second half of a back-to-back. They've scored 2 goals or less in 16 of the 17 games.
Yeah. There you go. I know. Weird stuff can happen like that. That's bizarre. Awesome.
What else really caught your eye for tonight that you have some strong bets on or opinions, Jonathan?
Yeah, so I like the Toronto Maple Leafs to win the first period. First period puck line minus a half a goal. The Leafs 6-0-2 in the first period in their last 8 games. No Connor Bedard, likely until after the new year for the Blackhawks. They were shut out against Detroit on Saturday night. I like Toronto in this spot here. Other games to look at: Minnesota Wild tonight against the Washington Capitals. They get Charlie Lindgren, the Wild do, as opposed to having to face Logan Thompson. Lindgren's 0-4-1 against the Wild. Minnesota, just such a different team with the Quinn Hughes trade. So I like Minnesota tonight. Like the over in this one. These guys traditionally hit 6 goals or more. There are a bunch of 5.5s out there as well to grab. And in that Edmonton game, here's another way I'm going to attack Edmonton tonight and Anaheim. Well, I like Columbus tonight. Anaheim's in a bad spot. And guys, the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-1 as a home favorite, 0-6 as a home dog. They are a favorite tonight against Anaheim. But here's a parlay that I'm going to go with tonight. And this is available at BetMGM. Both teams to score 2 goals in the Anaheim-Columbus game. Both teams to score 2 goals in the Oilers-Penguins game. You get that parlay at plus 115.
Okay, very good. Before you popped on, we did our weekly pizzeria segment, and several people submitted, and I've been doing this for a little while, and I'm adding more. And that is one of my anchors here to building crossport parlays. It's down to 2-1 now, but it's Colorado to win the West. Like if they stay healthy, right? I'm blown away by this team almost every single game that they play. What do you think about that?
I mean, look, they are awesome. It's incredible. Look, the Minnesota Wild are doing their best to try to knock down that Avalanche door. The 3 best teams in the NHL are, I think, in the West right now with Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota. But sure, Colorado at that price is really good. I'm interested to see what the Wild do. I think they're going to still add a piece. But as we've talked about before, it's got to be something up front. Colorado's just, man, they're just so good. The thing with the Wild, though, guys, and I'm going back and forth here. Quinn Hughes changes everything. Now, Quinn Hughes is the second best defenseman behind Cale Makar, and he's such a game changer, and it's going to change the way Minnesota plays. I think we're going to see higher scoring games, by the way, with the Wild for the foreseeable future.
Okay, very good. You can follow JD on X. He's at West Coast HKY. Join us on the Progressive Guest Line and his write-ups you can find daily during the week for the NHL and his betting tips. Thanks, my man. Appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Back at you. It's pretty remarkable.
There's a lot of stuff like that. The Rangers thing, Seattle, Colorado. You mentioned what the announcer said, how many times it's happened, but the home streak. I mean, that is almost 2-1. Goal in the first 5, but it pays out, like plus 180. And they've done it 13 or 14 at home. Goal in the first 5.
Like, think about that for a second.
That's nuts. And I talked about it like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, every damn game they play, there's a goal in 2 minutes in or 90 seconds, and it keeps happening.
I wonder, can you find that? Can you, name your price?
I saw it. Yeah, I know I saw it, like, years ago when we were doing this at the South Point in this crate, like the Blackhawks and Tampa Bay Lightning runs.
Yeah.
That's where you look, and they had that, like, first minute, first 2 minutes, that stuff was available.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's been a long time.
Like if an app could create a slider for you, and you just drag your finger and you go, goal in the first 8 minutes, goal in the first 5 minutes, goal in the first 90 seconds, and then the price just changes what it's going to offer you. And then if it makes sense at that price to me, that's what I'm going to bet. Got to do it. I mean,
It's clockwork.
I've been to games here in Vegas.
Think about your ROI on that prop.
Where they've scored a goal in the first 90 seconds.
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention, you don't, if you're just getting to your seat, you're like, what the hell happened? There's a goal already?
Yeah.
But for them to do that over and over and over again, that's crazy to me. We're going to revisit some numbers in the National Football League. We'll go over some numbers that we have for next week as well. Some juicy stuff on there as we continue on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.